powered by Riverside.
Hello, everyone, and good evening, and welcome to Animal Warrior Radio Voices Carry for Animals number 533 shows and counting this evening. And I want to welcome all you new listeners aboard that's tuning in. Hope you keep coming back and returning to this awesome platform. It's a new platform, the Riverside live stream. This is I was on Podbean before until May 14th, and then switched over to the Riverside live stream because they removed the live stream with the live studio chat with the call-ins. So I luckily I found this one. This is a great platform here, and I hope all of you, could keep coming back and spreading the word out there because the animals they need our voices, okay, and from every angle out there. I've done 500. Tonight will be 533 live stream shows and counting. Had just had my 12th year anniversary, June the 25th, and it was great. And we'll keep going. I just want to go over a couple things here before we do get started. My name is Debbie Dahmer, aka Mama Bear, and Mama Bear is on there because she really does care. So I want to and there's this live studio chat room open right now. If you'd like to join us on there, you have to have either Google Chrome, Microsoft Edge, or Safari to enter. If from a computer to interact with other listeners or speak to the guest. And we're going to go, we're going live here. And we want to thank you all out there on the social media, X and Facebook and LinkedIn that's tuning in from the web. If you'd like to join us over here, you're more than welcome. But anyway, I'm going to go trying to locate my guest here and to see what it's going to be another great show, everyone. All these amazing guests and callers and all the listeners that's tuning in. And we're hoping all of you keep tuning in because all these, with our voices, the animals will be heard. With our actions, the animals will seek justice. So we want to keep going here and make sure because the animals' lives and futures really do matter. Make it more comfortable and peaceful, and living in freedom and not and away from fear and anxiety and traumatized a lot of them are. So we're going to keep going here. And if you're listening on Facebook out there, there's live stream links on there, that you can listen to right from social media. And this is wonderful. So if you want to enter Voices Carry for Animals podcast, I do have a link, promo link that's going all over Facebook and my personal page, Voices Carry for Animals podcast Facebook page, Fans of Animal Rights Facebook page, Voices Carry for Animals support group on Facebook. Press that link. And what you have to do, they'll ask you if you are using headphones or not using headphones. Press no, and then press join studio. And you can listen right from your phone, your laptop, your iPad, tablet, and you can speak to the guest. And if you want to subscribe free to my website, in case you miss any of these shows, there's on-demand episodes, Voices Carry for Animals podcast dot riverside.com. And what you want to do is subscribe in the upper right hand corner, and then you'll get a follow-up email stating that thanks for subscribing, and then you press submit subscription and you're in. Okay, so just make sure when you're signing up that you put your name or nickname, your email address, and then submit, and that's how it's very easy. So if you have any questions, feel free to contact me. And also on X, everyone that's helped me to promote this show, it is a live stream post on there going right now, and there is a public chat. It is awesome, and we all, coming together as one, to help all the animals in need and distress, and that's what the show is all about. The ones that need our help from every angle out there, whatever we could do, contact our state representatives and or sign petitions. We could be authors or creator of new laws. There's so many options. There's so many solutions out there that we can be, getting involved with. So what and Leap, I see him, he's popped up. Hello, Leap. You want to go ahead and go ahead. I'm gonna try to get you in here. Okay.
Okay, Debbie.
There you are. All right. Welcome aboard. This is awesome. Such an honor. I love
Thank
this.
you for having me.
Yes, and anytime too, and everyone, I want to go over a little bit about Leif Cox. It's wonderful and an honor to have him on. He's the founder of the Wildlife Conservation International and speaker, author of the and founder of the Orangutan Project. The topics: the current orangutan situation and the Wildlife Conservation International strategies. That's what we'll be discussing, and also discuss Leif Cox's next book, Wild Lessons. Okay, so this is great, and we're going to keep it up. But welcome, Leif. How are you this evening? And
Uh,
you're calling in from Australia. This is wonderful. Yes, making voices heard worldwide. Yes, go ahead.
yeah, no, great to be here, Debbie. And yeah, it's early morning here in Australia, and yeah, and great to join you and your listeners.
Yes, and honor and pleasure to have you. And all that you do, you're so inspiring, and so it's so uplifting what you're doing out there for all the orangutans and everything that you're doing. But you want to tell the audience a little bit about yourself and how you got started, and we can go in
Mm-hmm.
later in the show with discussing your new book. But we'll get
Mm-hmm.
in your websites, because I like to give all the information possible on these Riverside live streams. Okay, but go right ahead. You go ahead and tell
Mm-hmm.
any how you got started.
Um, but I guess the origin story is I started working with 15 orangutans and discovered that they were self-aware persons. Um, Unfortunately, also quickly discovered that they've been murdered and driven to extinction. And so that set me on my life mission to study the orangutans, doing my master's in research, but also starting the Orangutan Project in order to provide a vehicle to save the last of the species, the subspecies of orangutans, before it's too late. And we're working to a strategy now that we're um, putting together 7 ecosystems of the right type, shape, and size to ensure not only there's viable populations of orangutans to pass on to future generations, but those ecosystems themselves will be viable.
Hmm. And was checking out your websites and everything. They're so educational and so inspiring and everything. And I look at it and I said, look at it and how long you have been doing this, and it's wonderful. And I know I've seen pictures, photos with you with the orangutans, and it's so, and I mean, so uplifting and heartwarming to see that. You communicating with them, you're on them with front lines, and you're out there to make a difference, and you have been. And I know they look at you and see you coming, and they give you a standing ovation. It's
Mhm.
just so wonderful, and I mean, just so phenomenal how all you're doing out there. And what and all the we bring in the all the negative into the positive, and it can be done. Strong leaders and strong supporters leads to strong victories, and that's our goals, because all of us are on this earth temporarily, including all the animals, and they deserve the best. They deserve their rights granted, not violated, to live in freedom, and away from fear and anxiety. We all love to our rights. We love to live in freedom and to be comfortable in our homes. And they so do they. And we have to speak up for them and fight for them, fight for their rights, because they can't do it themselves. So that's when we have to do it, right? I mean, we have no choice. We have to do what's right, and keep it up. What you're doing, because that matters from every angle. So yes. So we look at it and I say, hey, Lee, you've been doing this so many years, and all your experience from everything that you do. You're an author, you're a speaker. You look at all the every day that you're doing, and you're so into it, and that's and interested. That's a main thing, that you love what you're doing, and you care about it, and you care about these animals that's so innocent out there, and defenseless and helpless and voiceless. So we have to, keep the fight up, because there's, the animals, they're on this earth. We all share this earth together, and they have every right to be with us, so, and to share this earth, right? I mean, it's just right there. So, but you want to go ahead and tell the audience, a little bit more about yourself, and if you want to bring up some websites, because after the show gets downloaded and
Mhm.
edited and published, all your links will go in there, okay? And then it'll get passed up to 2 YouTube channels, all my websites, and there's going to be like 25 other podcast
Mhm.
websites that it's going on, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon, Apple, podserve.fm, Podbean. I'm still on Podbean hosting, getting my shows out there, but it's going to get out there as soon as it's over with, when I get everything published, and then more information. But you're on your Facebook page, you can give that out, and also your website, and whatever information you can give the audience. Okay, go right
Okay.
ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Debbie. I guess to put the our work in the overall holistic perspective, I always say orangutans may be the center of my love, but not the boundary of them. So we always intended that orangutans would be the umbrella species to do good for all living beings. And I'll just quickly explain that. Umbrella species means, for example, if you can protect enough orangutans in the habitat, you don't have to start a squirrel project or a lizard project. They come along for a free ride under the umbrella. But what I found out that there was 3 species slipping outside from the umbrella. elephants and people were killing each other to try to survive in the remaining forest. Tigers were being killed by criminal syndicates for the illegal Chinese medicine trade, and the indigenous communities that share the forest were also not doing too well. Their children were malnourished and they were impoverished. So I started the International Elephant Project, International Tiger Project, and Forest for People as three sister projects to the Orangutan Project to bring all living creatures under the umbrella of holistic conservation. And so, as I mentioned before, we believe we have the capacity to save 7 ecosystems of the right type, shape, and size of rainforest to take these species through the extinction crisis. And the important thing with that is you can't just say bits of rainforest or any type of rainforest. Rainforest has to be a certain size because rainforest produces its own humidity and rainfall and reduces the ambient temperature by at least 4 degrees. So saving small patches don't work, they ecologically collapse over time. So I have to say large patches of rainforest of the right type. For example, orangutans, elephants, and tigers really can only exist in the lowland and riverine forests, not in the hills. So just so saving national parks in the hills means that the species will still go extinct. And the last thing is the shape, because you lose about 80% of your biodiversity 1 kilometer from the edge of the rainforest, you really need large volume, like a almost a circle, maximum volume for surface area in order to make these ecosystems viable. So it's about piecing together before it's too late. We're leasing, purchasing, and helping manage forests in a holistic way to secure the large viable ecosystems, and then within that, secure viable populations of orangutans.
Yeah, the orangutans, they're so awesome. I mean, I look at them and all, yeah, I was going through the images there, leap through, where I, you know, Google search the
Mm-hmm.
Wildlife Conservation International, and I was looking through all those photos and your website, and it's so educational. I mean, education is the key to always learn about them, educate yourself about them, what goes on behind the scenes and everything, and all the time and effort you have put into this to get the word out and to educate other people of what's going on out there, because that is so important. Not to hide anything or cover anything up. You know the truth, and you're investigating too. I mean, that's some major work there. Going behind the scenes and seeing how these innocent animals are being treated. And a lot of times we don't approve of what's going on out there. They deserve to live in freedom, all over the world, not just in Australia, but all over the place. And these animals are so innocent and defenseless and helpless and voiceless. And I know you get very close to them and you keep learning more and more about them. You're on front lines with them. You're bonding with them. You're learning more about them. And education is the key, right? I mean, it's right there to know more about them each and every day, because they deserve the right treatment out there, because you know animal rights should be granted, not violated or ignored or swept under the carpet, right? It's terrible with a lot of stuff's going on. I mean, that's why I keep having these shows, because that's, we bring it to the spotlight. And not only, this is not the only thing I do on the podcast, but I get out there and help out on sharing posts or getting people to take action, because that's the key. That is right there. We can talk all we want to on these podcasts or through social media, but if we don't take action for them, we're only spinning our wheels, right? I mean, that's the key right there is take that action, make it better for them, right? I mean, we cannot give up. We have to keep it up because that's what matters. And when with all the information you're giving out there in Australia, and a big shout out to all the listeners out there who's listening from Australia. We're making the voices heard worldwide, and out of the country, the guests is always welcome to my shows, and to keep coming, and the more exposure, the better out there, because that's when we focus on it. We don't want it to fizzle out and go away because these animals do need our help from every different angle. And out there with Leap, hey, if you can donate, that's great too, right, Leap? I mean, right there, not everything is not for free, and to help out, and it's a worthy, very it's cause the cause is so important out there. And whatever you could donate to them, hey, it's great, and it's generosity. I mean, you're helping out for some important, very important issues here, and to help the animals out too, and help Leap out because they deserve it, right, Leap? I mean, that's what it takes. It's a circle here, and we want it to keep going into the right direction, help build better lives and futures. So that's what we want for all of them. They so well deserve. So whatever you could do, help support them. Visit his websites and Facebook page, how you can help out. You know, and Leap, if you could give me your social media sites. I know you're on Facebook. I've checked that out. What a wonderful page there, the Orangutan Project, Orangutan, and that's an awesome page too. Your website and any kind of information out there where you can get also on YouTube. I went and subscribed to your channel there also and check that out. You got a lot going on there. I mean, Premier Bianca will give you a standing ovation. So whatever information you give out, hey, go right ahead to the audience.
Um, thanks, Debbie. I think that maybe the most simplest is to just give the website, the orangutanproject.org, and people can go on there, and there would be links to the social media and how to support our conservation work through adopting orangutan, sponsoring some rainforest, or making a general donation to keep the cause going. If you're on YouTube and you want to watch a good documentary, is you can just search for Orangutan Whisperer, and you can see there's a 45-minute documentary on my work and the history that led up to the conservation work we're doing in the field today.
hmm And you said a documentary too. So, all the listeners out there, if you could take note of that. And also on like I said, I should just subscribed last night to the YouTube channel also. And a great lineup of videos on there. And they're so, I mean, it's worth your time to watch them and to check all this websites and the Facebook pages and Leaf is going to be coming out with a new book also, right, Leaf? And wishing you the best of luck on that. I mean, that's going to be. Could you tell the audience a little bit about that too? And
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be called Wild Lessons, okay? And how they can get connected with that. And like I said, best of luck with that all the way.
Mm-hmm.
Wishing you the best of the
Yeah.
best.
Mm.
Yep.
If you sign up for our newsletter, um, then and follow us on social media, we'll be producing the new book, my full Wild Lessons, shortly. And it takes the audience on a journey about understanding ourselves as human living beings in context and contrast to the other great apes, our tribal ancestors, and also most importantly, a comparison to the orangutan, which I often characterize as a more noble form of humanity, where they don't have the aggression and the killer instinct that human beings do. And so the statistic I often quote to demonstrate how beautiful and noble orangutans are. Since I started conservation, in one area in Kalimantan alone, we've known over the last 20 years, 100,000 orangutans have been murdered. And although orangutans can be 7 times stronger than a human being, and the males have canines the same size as tigers, there's not one case in a zoo, sanctuary, in the wild of an orangutan ever killing a human being.
That many? That's astronomical. Did you say 100,000 murdered? That is so. Whoa.
That's correct. And unfortunately, even today, we're having coal mines destroying rainforests for low-grade coal to sell to China, and murdering the orangutans that live in that forest. So the stupid is really piled upon stupid at the moment, especially in this climate crisis, conservation crisis, and the murder of these beautiful, self-aware persons that share our planet. And so we really have this next decade to turn the situation around, and in order to be able to leave viable population of orangutans in viable rainforests.
This is, I mean, I can't, it's unbelievable what's going on there, Leif. I mean, when you hear all this, it's sad news, it's very sad. And the amount, that is just astronomical. I mean, whoa, they all deserve better than this. It's, and you can't bring them back. They're gone, so we can only hope for a better, better futures for them and lives that they so well deserve out there. Yep.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, the people who are profiting from the destruction of our planet, and here specifically destroying the lungs of the earth by destroying the Indonesian rainforest, they're far more powerful than us. And so our teams are rescuing as many orangutans as they can when they're allowed in to get as many as they can before they're murdered. And we're putting together and securing large ecosystems, so not only we can protect the remaining orangutans in these ecosystems, but the ones which are outside of that, which have been murdered and their forests been destroyed, we can rescue as many as we can and translocate, rehabilitate, and release to form one large viable population where these orangutans can live in these rainforest sanctuaries, secure, in peace, to live in their own societies and in their own rainforests for future generations.
Yeah, I mean, what's going on? I mean, the future is in our hands, in all of our hands for them, and we got to do what's right out there, because we can't stand still for that, And everyone, the audience, 100,000 murdered, and that is so devastating and so wrong. So we got to, keep coming together, get stronger and stronger, and do something about it, because they deserve better lives, and they're so, Leaf, they're so adorable. I've seen so many pictures of them, and they are so adorable, and with you holding them and on your shoulder, those pictures are so heartwarming and heartfelt, and keep it up. That's how that bond comes. I mean, if you open your heart to animals and that bond, hey, it's beautiful if you give them a chance, and let them, communicate with them. That's just like our own pets in our homes, TLC homes, how we communicate with them and pet them and talk to them and do things with them, take them places, you know, and they love that. They love to be in a TLC home, and they're outside in the wild, and they want to live in peace and comfort and freedom. Not in captivity or, living in fear and anxiety and traumatized. That's not good. They have every right to live on this earth just like we do. We share it all together, putting them in the spotlight, making sure, because when I said looked at the photos, or I mean, I was like, look at these innocent animals. I mean, they're just so adorable, and you're communicating with them. You are front lines with them. You're, educating yourself, not only yourself, but everybody out there, the public. Let them know. And it's so interesting. It's not boring or nothing like that. It is very interesting and very, to us to learn more about them. And in our every, we won't ever see them in our everyday lives, like we do our pets at home, but they're out there living, and we have to make sure that they live comfortably. That's what we owe them and the rights for them, because look at what all you're doing, the positive impact that you're being. You know, Leif Cox, I give you a standing ovation. And I give Seth Norris a big shout out because he's the one that got us connected. And I want to thank him so much because he's a great team player too. That we contacted and we worked together and got you involved. That's teamwork, and that's what it takes out there everywhere that we go to see those victories, to see those changes, positive changes made. So Seth, thank you so much, everybody. We're going to keep these shows going, and from the podcast host to, the guest to the listeners. This is a big human chain reaction to take action. All of us together coming as one and doing something about it because that's what it takes out there. We cannot give up. We can't look the other way, ignore it, sweep it under the carpet because it's not going to happen. We want to see them live comfortably with their lives now and the future. We can't do nothing about the past, but we can for sure about the future. And it takes strong teamwork all the way. And I noticed when the victories come in, hey, it started somewhere and then to the finish, it took teamwork from the beginning to the end to the victory. And it took all of us to be combined. Teamwork rocks and teamwork wins, everyone. So we're going to, keep it up because we cannot give up on the animals. They they cannot fight themselves. They're defenseless, helpless, voiceless, and we have to keep it up and make sure because the animals especially thank us when their lives and futures turn for the better. They can't personally thank us, but when we see the photos and the videos, we know we did our job and we knew we worked together to make it happen. Whether it's the laws or any changes out there, and I've seen a lot of victories come through. Hey, I can't take credit, but I when you're involved, it takes a human chain reaction to take that action, so we have to, that's what it takes, right, Leaf? Working together.
Yes. Hmm.
Yes.
Exactly. Unfortunately, human beings as individuals are really unable to achieve anything, unfortunately. The only way we can and have ever achieved anything is by collectivization, either collectivization our capital, our financial resources, or collectivizing our labor, our work, from volunteering to our paid work. And so the Orangutan Project offers just one opportunity for people to collectivize their labor and their capital in order to achieve meaningful outcomes. And because lives are almost solely enriched by living a life of giving and selfless service, by collectivizing and achieving meaningful good for orangutans and future generations, we also enrich our lives.
Oh yeah, and you said right there, enrich our lives right there, make our lives better. We see the positive results coming in. Hey, it does enrich us from every angle. You can't say it doesn't. And we're not going to give up. Quitters never win and winners never quit. And we're a winner for the animals, not a, loser or anything, right? And got some, I don't know if you see the screen, they got some orangutans pictures coming through on the live stream. Aren't they adorable? I love it. That's Mama Cat. She's a former guest on the show. Many times helped me out. She takes care of 90 colony cats out there in Colorado. So all
Mm-hmm.
animals matter. She had 125, got, more homes and everything. And she's has a great, huge heart, just like you do. And with the communication with them and from every angle helping them out, and has her family members helping them out. See all this working together, making positive results. And it keeps them warm in the winter time too, because it gets cold in Colorado. And you're talking 90 colony cats. That's a lot of cats to take care of. So it's not, nothing easy to do with it. Her husband gets involved, her grandchildren, and it takes all this big team effort. And I love that picture out there, Mama Cat, that's coming through the video. They're so adorable. You just want to pick them up and hug them and take them as pets, they're so awesome, Leaf. You know, and I know you feel the same way too. They gotta love you to death out there. Not only you spend time with them, but you're educating yourself and the public out there more to know more about them, how innocent they are. They deserve the best, so and they're a part of our world out there. We can't do without them. They're awesome. Can you imagine having, with all these animals and everything? I mean, you think about your pets at home, or, from every angle, the wildlife out there, okay, and the farm animals. You look from every angle, and you're looking at and you're saying, "Wow, they're so awesome." Even the wildlife out here at the home, hey, the birds matter. Got, bird feeders, probably like 4 or 5 of them, keeping water out for the wildlife, the raccoons, the squirrels. Had some Florida sand cranes that come almost every day. They had just had a family of 2, and so they got the babies with them. So it is from every angle that we look at, we've got to care for them. Let them know we care, right? And keep it up.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah,
And
they're certainly are wonderful living beings, and certainly having the rare opportunity to be an orangutan mother and raising young orangutans is they have such a beautiful nature, and when they're with their mothers, such a loving and secure upbringing that they develop into these most wonderful persons, and so which is one of the reasons forming a friendship with orangutans is one of the most beautiful friendships and connections that human beings can experience, because they are so self assured and independent that they really need anything from you, and that often the friendship is much more pure than what people may experience, even with their friendships amongst humans.
Oh yeah, and when you look and you think about it, with the bond that that you have with them, I wish one day I could be close with one and become friends with. That friendship is so valuable, meaningful, so heartwarming when you build that trust within each other. Each and every day, hey, I trust that animal trusts me, and that goes on out here a lot. When they build up that trust with you, you know that, hey, they're going to trust you for life and to be close with you. And that's what matters out there. And for people to open up and educate yourself on these innocent animals, because they deserve to be to recognize, put in the spotlight, and fix any of the issues that's out there, and all the problems. And once we see the victories come through and their lives changing, hey, we know we did our part, and that's what counts out there. Leave, don't ever give up, and I know you won't. Like I said, I'm gonna do this podcast till my last breath. Whatever I can help out with, I will do it. And that's what it takes. And social media, I just don't do the podcast. I get out there on X and Facebook and LinkedIn, and I'm so fast at sharing stuff and getting people notified that it makes my head spin. And that's what it takes. Education, get that education inside you. That's the key. Learn more, you know whatever it takes. I mean, videos or books or documentaries, whatever it takes, and know what goes on with their lives behind the scenes, because it so well matters. And these orangutans, they're, like I said, they're so adorable. I kept looking at the pictures, and some of them are so heartwarming, and so, I mean, they're important in our lives. Every animal out there, they do matter. you know all lives matter, including all the animals, including them. And treat them with dignity and respect. That's what it takes. We're lacking a lot of dignity and respect in this world today, where they deserve better, right? They deserve better from every angle. And then we
Yeah,
wish we wish we was at, oh, they're getting treated, all of them get, no, we got to work on some issues that's very serious out there, because if we don't, the problems only get worse. We have to be a part of the solutions, not the ongoing problems, right? That's what it takes.
yes, and our lives can certainly be enriched by joining together to make meaningful change. Otherwise, we just feel disempowered. And of course, the people destroying the planet want us to feel disempowered because they're making a lot of money off it. But we shouldn't allow that to happen, and we can make a meaningful change. But just maybe if anybody is interested, myself and my program managers, we take people into the rainforest on eco tours through our great ethical company, Orangutan Odysseys. And if you come with me into the rainforest, I can introduce you to the beautiful orangutans and the wonderful frontline heroes are working every day to save the orangutans. And each and at night, I take people through these what I call fireside chats, and take everybody on this wonderful journey to learn about orangutans and their conservation and what we can do as individuals to make that vision that one day all orangutans will live in secure rainforests in safety and freedom, make that a reality.
Yes, and a big shout out to all your heroes out there too. Thank you all so much for all you do. Who's ever out there, hey, we're doing what you're doing. It's very impressive and very informative and very helpful for them, because they deserve it from every angle. And that'd be, to come out to there and check that out. That would be awesome. That leave. I mean, that would be so, I mean, phenomenal. That word I want to use because it would be, so. But I was going to ask you if you wanted to go ahead and take any calls that anybody wants to speak on air, have any
Mm-hmm.
questions or comments and everything, and we'll be going into your book again, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And because I want to give you promotion and give you a standing ovation and a big thank you for what you're doing, so as much as it gets out there and once it get you
Mm-hmm.
you can contact me and I'll promote it on my social media pages. How's that? All
Oh,
over
thank you,
X
David.
and Facebook and LinkedIn, and get it out there, because I believe in teamwork all the way, and that's what it
Mm-hmm.
takes. But does anybody want to speak to Leap Cox? You're more than welcome. Just try to refrain from any noises in the background, radios, TVs, conversations, and you're more than welcome to come on board, okay? And we will. Mama Cat, did you? We got a Michelle. Thank you for joining us too. I got a super team going here, Leaf. We all
Mm-hmm.
work together great with through the social media, Carolyn and Mama Cat, and I mean this is huge. Darla, um, and it's been for years. It just didn't start up. Wherever we can help out. But does anybody want to speak to um, Leaf Cox? And you're more than welcome to. Um, just let me know what you want to come on air over here, and you're more than welcome. And on the public chat out there, that's going on the web. Thank you all for tuning in on Facebook and LinkedIn and X. It's really getting out there on this Riverside live stream. That's what we're going live. And but if you have any questions, we could start them up or comments, and really thank him for all he's done. And the Orangutans, please visit the website. I was visiting last night, today, and it's a great website, the Orangutan Project. And you're also on the is it the Tiger Research Project? Also, I seen, um, and the elephant.
Yes, the International Tiger Project, International Elephant
Yes,
Project.
yes.
And as I said, I started those projects as well as Forest for People to bring all living beings under the umbrella of a holistic conservation. Unfortunately, unlike orangutans, where we have the opportunity to save viable populations of orangutans, if we act now, there is not going to be an opportunity, even within our grandchildren's lifetime, to have a viable population of Sumatran elephants or tigers ever again. And so we not only have to secure them in subpopulations in the individual habitats, but we have to actively manage their populations by transferring, dispersing males between populations to ensure their genetics remain viable for future generations. And so our opportunity to save one single viable population, and unfortunately, that train has left the station. Um, but through active management, we can still secure their populations.
Oh yeah. So look all the yeah, I wanted to bring that up, in this podcast, the other things you're doing here, with the forest and everything and the elephants and the tigers. Look at all this the wild animals. And they all deserve to be out in the wild, not in captivity. The zoos, the circuses and all that. I've had many shows on that, and that's no life for them. That's prison life, and they never committed any crimes. I know you probably heard about Lucy the elephant up in Edmonton, Canada, the Edmonton Valley Zoo. She's been in decades and decades, and it's so sad how they're treating her, you know, and she's in so much pain. And I'm going to be having another show on her, so I'm trying to hit from every wildlife out there and every issue, because this captivity needs to end. Give them the freedom that they so well deserve, living out in the wild and with their families and socializing, not forced into something that they're mandated to do, have no choice in the matter. It's sad, and if you look at them within the cages and how they're living, they have no life whatsoever, and it's miserable, So the ones out in the wild, hey, let's get them all out there. The lions, the tigers, the bears, all of them. And we don't. There's no need for zoos and circuses. There's no need for them to see have somebody, the profit before animals. Let's get that switched around. Let's feel how the animals feel. If we switched, let's say if we switched into an elephant, I was in a zoo, I wouldn't like that. Or there being a bear in there. That's zero life. It's prison life, and it's sad. Some of them never even see daylight, that they get out there in the real world out there. They're just so cooped up and clammed up in a zoo, or getting told in a circus. Let's end that. Let's get with the times, right? Let's get them to freedom and safety. You can't do nothing about the past, but we can for sure about the future. Get at least worldwide, because all these animals deserve better lives and futures, right? And it's up to us to do it and make that change. Be a part of the solutions, not the ongoing problems, right, Leaf? We cannot
Hmm.
give up. We cannot give up. And anybody, welcome to the live studio chat room. Um, Hope all of you are. Thank you all for joining us out there into the studio chat. There's public chat, and Mama Cat has somehow got out. Um, Try again off that link I sent you if you can still hear me, Mama Cat. I don't know. Everybody else is in here and they're not having issues, but I don't know what happened. Maybe it's the area that you're in, or could be
Hmm.
storms, whatever is going on, because I know where she's at. They've had a lot of in Wisconsin. She's visiting her mother. Her mother hasn't been doing well, but she's doing better now. But there's a lot of
Hmm.
smoke and fires and out there, so it could be there. Yep. So we got to keep going there. But if anybody wants to speak, you go right ahead. And I don't know, Leaf, how long did you want to be on the show? Usually I run it to 8 to 8:30 p.m. Eastern time.
Hmm.
But I wanted to ask you what you're comfortable with, because it's a different time zone there right now. So it's up to you. You know,
Hmm.
I give my guests the option, if you want
Okay.
to, yes. So, but it's been
Um,
such an honor to have you on.
yeah.
It's so
Um,
uplifting what you're doing. Keep it up.
thank you. Thank you,
Yeah.
Debbie. I put aside an hour for this podcast, but I can go a little longer if you like. Um,
Okay.
but I do obviously have to get back to the coal face, to the important work that we're doing for the orangutans on their behalf. And
Yes.
yeah, so happy to answer any questions. I certainly find more and more when I do public lectures, I reduce the amount of time I speak and increase the amount of time for questions and answers, because I find that way people get the information and the understanding that they want um, from the communication. So I find the questions often far more powerful and interesting than the talks themselves.
Oh yeah, because I noticed on these shows that's why I always wanted the live studio chat, and I've been doing it for 12 years with the call-ins. It makes them interesting, all the questions and concerns and things that they want to get to know more about the animals, and to educate them more, to lead them directions how they can help out. That's always helpful too, because they once they start learning about the hearing about the websites and the YouTube channels, and then they get more interested and involved, in each and
Hmm.
every way, and then you're bringing in more. attractions to these orangutans or whatever animals out there that you're bringing interest in, and getting them more help. Human chain reaction to take action. Power in numbers, strength in numbers out there. So, and everybody wants to speak, please let me know. Just in the chat room, if you want to speak out on and speak to Leap, you're more than welcome to. We had Mama Cat just having some audio problems, but um, Lisa had put in there. It's sad to see that orangutans share 96 to 97% of our DNA, and people still kill them. Isn't that something? And
Mm-hmm.
it's sad, Lisa. What's going on. So we need to get that changed out there. We and once we see them get better lives in future, we know what that we did our part. Put a little love in your heart and do your part. So that's what it takes. And
Mm-hmm.
what I want to do, I'm gonna see. I'm checking here in the live chat room. If anybody wants to speak, Michelle or Lisa, Harolyn, you're more than welcome. And go ahead and to alert me that you want to come on board. Okay, Lisa. Oh, you have a question? Did you want to come on air, or did you just want me to ask him right here? It's fine either way. Okay. And thanks for doing this, Lisa. And you can't get on air. Wonder why? I gotta look into this because I'm still
Mm-hmm.
new on this podcast and I haven't had really any problems. But starting out,
Mm-hmm.
um, but this modern
I know
technology.
what always gets to us. I know when I'm doing public lectures, it's the IT technology that's going to bite you. So.
Oh yeah, yeah. Because I remember when I went on Podbean, at first I was having some issues, not major, but just learning everything and all the modern technology. And I was there what, a year and 3 months. So now I'm back over here on Riverside, and so I'm still trying to figure out different stuff on here. So it's an awesome platform. I love this platform. Thank you, Riverside, and they've been awesome team players with any emails or support chat I've had, and that's what it takes, right? You learn right along. But Lisa says that she has a question. Have you had an interest? Have you always had an interest in animals through your whole life? Like say when you was little, or
Mhm.
growing up. But go right ahead.
Yes, yes. I always had an interest in affinity with animals. I actually grew up in a large metropolis, Hong Kong, and so it wasn't a bastion of the natural world. But in the flat in my room, I kept terrapins and budgerigars and tropical fish and goldfish and cats, and so I always surrounded myself with animals, and of course when I left Hong Kong and did my education, and yeah, I certainly had the wonderful opportunity to spend a lot of my life in the rainforest, which is this rich, beautiful um, bastion of biodiversity and life, where these most wonderful beings that share our planet, elephants and tigers and orangutans and rhinos, um, live in these beautiful ecosystems. And of course, the tragedy is these wonderful ecosystems have been destroyed for short-term profit for a greedy few, and not only destroying the economic future of developing nations like Indonesia, um, but being one of the most significant things that drive climate change. And climate change means that it the climate doesn't matter whether the increased storms and forest fires in America. are just equally creative from destruction of rainforest in Indonesia on the other side of the planet than anything that is done locally. And so I was well against the idea of think global and act local. I think unfortunately we have to look at these things holistically and realize that if even if we only want to keep a safe and productive future for our families in developed nations, we all do have to have a genuine concern about what's happening in developing nations, and particularly in these most important ecosystems and lungs of the planet, in the rainforests of the world. And Indonesian rainforest is most at stake.
Yeah, the rainforest, they all, I mean, everything that you're speaking about, everything matters, out there from every angle, so we got to keep it up, everyone, because all of them, all these orangutans and these animals, they deserve so much better out there, and it's all up to us, to take that action, and my next week's show is on wildlife also. Have you heard of Nikki Sharp, Wildlife SOS? That's going to be our next week's show. So looking forward to having her on. I've had a lot of shows on wildlife, bears, you name it, and I'm going to continue. And I'm going to continue to have you back, the more exposure, the better out there, so, and I'm almost booked up for the rest of the year with guests. And that's a huge plus when you stand up for all the animals in need. You're going to get slammed from every angle. So I don't have a
Mm-hmm.
problem with that. So
Mm-hmm.
that's a big plus. And the listeners out there that's listening all over the social media, and that's not including the downloads that's after, you know, that's available 24/7. I got a large amount of people coming from all over the world listening to these shows, and thank you all out there for doing that. It's so much appreciated, and it inspires me to keep going. Not only the live stream shows now, but even afterwards and the downloads and listening. Hey, our key is the action takers. That's where it's happening, right, Lee? Right there. That's where we want to see some changes being made, right? So we can't give up.
Mm-hmm.
We
Yeah.
cannot give up. No. So we got to keep it up and go for it from every angle. Spread the word. A lot of people out there, they get busy with their lifestyles. Whether it's with their families or their work, or their children or their sons and daughters, and they really don't know what's going on behind the scenes. And if you educate them and let them know, then they might want to get involved too. They'll make that time, that meaningful time, that heartfelt time, to alert them. Hey, all you got to do is, hey, you get on that social media, that's the landing strip for all of us, where the news, a lot of news comes out. Websites, all the news is right there. What's going on, the progress being made, the victories, what needs to be done, right? We can all do it ourselves, and with a lot of teamwork, because like you said before, it enriches us when we are all working together. It inspires us to move farther and stronger and better and gain, strength in numbers out there. The power in numbers, that's what helps to make the changes made. So whatever we can do, so but anyway, what I'm going to do, if nobody wants to speak on air, I'm going to go ahead and close it down, and that way Lee can get on to his BFFs. I bet you call them your BFFs, right? Best furry friends. I know I would.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
It's
Yep.
a great saying. Thank you, Debbie.
Yay. And now I have a question from Lisa again. What is the lifespan of an orangutan?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Uh, Orangutans are the slowest reproducing species in the world. For example, the Sumatran orangutan has its first baby at 15, and there's 9 years between individual infants. This is why they're so prone to extinction, because they adapt to the environment predominantly through culture rather than natural selection of genes. And so they have these long maternal training periods. And so, in order for the orangutans to population to survive, they must live into their early 60s. However, we've only been studying orangutans for such a short period relative to their lifespan. We still don't have the firm statistics on that. But certainly, orangutans that we've seen decades ago, which are mature and having offspring, are still mature and having offspring as we speak. So the answer to your question is into the early 60s. In wild, unfortunately, they don't live that long in captivity.
Mm. Then that's a sad part. And that captivity will stress them out, and their lives end up ended sooner. That's why they need to be out in the wild and living freely. And they all deserve that. Let's get them out of this captivity. It's so wrong. It's prison life for them, and it's so wrong. They don't have no choice in the matter, and they're mandated. They're forced to go in there. And whether it's zoos or circles, I'm never into them. I'm on the animal side. I'm looking out for them. On the other side, and say, no, this is wrong. Profit before animals is a no-no. Okay, and it's not right. And to all the greed going on because of it, it's a nightmare out there. When you go to the roots of the problem, it comes down to money again.
Mhm.
Greed again. So it's sad, but it's true. And we've got to get that changed around where it's animals before profit. They
Mhm.
have feelings just like we do. They see, they eat, they sleep, they walk. Everything we do, they just speak in another language, but we can bond with them. We get close with them, and they build that trust in each other. And what a wonderful feeling, isn't it, Leap? I mean, it's just so beautiful. And to open your heart to them and to give them that chance. Let them, with all this, building going on, especially here in Florida, they're catching the wildlife running in the neighborhoods and quit taking their space away. Leave them alone. We don't want it to one day they're not around no more. They're gone. And for our, grandchildren and great grandchildren, the generations coming up. We want them around for a long time, even after we're dead and gone. You know,
Mhm.
so. But if you have any more questions in the chat room, go ahead. Ask me some questions if you can't, or if you want to get on air. You're more than welcome. I could pass and you know give it to Leaf. And looking forward to having you on again and again, Leaf. I got, your email address and stuff and everything, and looking forward to having you come back, and
Mhm.
enjoy your day there in Australia.
Oh,
And
thank you. Thank you,
all
Debbie.
you listeners out there that's in Australia, thank you for tuning in and keep spreading the word. Check out the website, donate what you can. Every effort counts, every bit counts. Spread the word, share it on your, if you
Mhm.
can't, maybe there's two, three, four more people out there on social media that can, and they'll be more than happy to help out.
Mhm.
It's nothing's for free nowadays, and we know how high inflation is from every angle,
Mhm.
right? And so whatever you can do, and once your book comes out, like I said, let me know, and I will
Mhm.
help you get out there and promote it. How's that?
Oh,
And
thank you, Debbie. That's greatly appreciated. And
yes.
being a small lean team, trying to tackle these large issues is only through our networks of wonderful people who are willing to support us, um, that we're able to put together the resources necessary to achieve the mission.
Oh yeah, and you're doing it too. I give you a standing ovation for that because that's and but the audience does too, and to be all the listeners out there that's tuning in. You're very strong, you're very optimistic, proactive. You're all in one, positive impact in this world. And give your BFFs out there a big hug from Florida from you, okay? I would love to. I see those photos. I want to hug one, like you
Mhm.
were. They would said, looking real close to them. The photos are very meaningful.
Mhm.
That bond is strong, and you've got to have it for a long time, very long time. And just think you got to feel good about it. It's something you love to do, and that's the wonderful part. But if anybody doesn't have any questions or comments for Leaf, I'm going to go ahead and close it down. And I want to always welcome you back, Leaf, and looking forward to it. Okay.
Thank you, Debbie. Um,
Yes.
you, you
Looking.
you have a great rest of your evening in America, and
Yes.
yeah, and and
Thank you. Thank you. And you
thank
have a
you.
wonderful day under in Australia. Okay.
Yeah,
And big
thank you very
big
much.
hugs from Florida, and big hugs to all your BFF origin tags out there. They're adorable. I know you can't wait and enjoy your day. Be safe and keep up the outstanding work you are doing. And feel free to join us in this podcast anytime. Okay, be
Thank you.
be a listener, or just you could call in anytime. I tell all my guests that you're subscribed and everything. And I tell them the next week, Nikki Sharp, Executive Director of Wildlife SOS, is going to be joining us. And a big shout out to Casey Beeman. She's the media specialist for getting this connected here. But I want to welcome her aboard and confirm that next week what our discussion is going to be. But I'm sure it's going to be another great show. I've never had a bad show. Could you leave? That's 500 and what 33 shows, and they've all been
Hmm.
so very important and great, informative, educational. A lot of people didn't, I mean, myself didn't know, a lot of stuff that was going on and have learned from there.
Hmm.
So we want to welcome aboard 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Central, 5 o'clock Mountain, and 4 o'clock Pacific. Everyone listen in worldwide. And if you want to subscribe to my host website, and that's Voices Carry for Animals Podcast riverside.com. And what you're going to do is in the upper right hand corner is subscribe, put your full name or nickname, your email address, and this submit. And then you'll get a follow up email that's stating thanks for subscribing. And then make sure you hit this is very important submit subscription, and you're in. And I do have newsletters going out weekly that'll hit your emails. And all these shows are recorded live and archived, and you can listen 24/7, 20, 365 days a year. You can share them, get out there on social media, because there's going to be a lot of people that miss this, so they can always go back and listen and download and listen to it. And I'm so impressed and so inspired by how many go back and download and listen to it. But Leap, it's been an honor to have you on. And like I said, you have a wonderful day.
Thank
And
you.
thank you, Seth Norris, and everything for
Hmm.
all you've done to get us connected. And keep it up. The, what a great
Thank you.
show. So informative
Thank.
and yes, yes. But thank you all so much, and all the ones that's
Thank.
listening in the chat room. And yeah, thank you all you listeners out there. And listen from the chat room from Facebook and LinkedIn and X. Thank you all for tuning in, on this Riverside live stream, and keep spreading the word out there, okay? So we're going to keep it up, and we're going to end this night, and everybody have a nice and safe and comfortable, peaceful evening out there, okay? Because and just think, come back to these shows. You can go back and play them again, and how you can help out. Visit his website, his Facebook page and YouTube channels. I'm all connected with you, Leaf. I've already
Thank
followed you
you.
on your pages and everything. So, but Voices Carry for Animals podcast is on every Thursday. Everyone, please join us with great guests. But anyway, I'm going to go here. And may God bless you all. Keep the prayers coming, okay? And paw in hand, United we stand against all animal cruelty and neglect across the land. Good night, everyone, and hope to see you next week. And good night, or have a good day, Lee, for one a different time zone. But be safe out there, and like I said, give the Orangutans a big hug from me, okay, from Florida. And that's
Thank you,
awesome
Billy.
what you're doing. So heartwarming and inspiring. Good night, everyone, and thank you all for tuning in. Good night. Thank you,
Good
Lee.
night.